Say it with me. Cap.
Hey guys, I stumbled across something in my studies the other day that I hadn't seen before. Some people consider it to be controversial. Some believe in it, some people don't. What I found, I believe, will help you have better communication on the job and in relationships. Being a mister of over 14 years, I know that what I'm about to share with you will definitely help you to improve your communication skills. I wanted to start by showing you a little bit about communication and some communication skills that will help you in the workplace, in relationship, with friendships, in public, in many different places when you're speaking to people. Believe it or not, this is actually biblical. And we can see it when the Bible talks about what's called tongues. Speaking in tongues or tongues and interpretation. And I'm going to show you a few places where tongues and interpretation isn't just mumbling, it's not something that should confound the mind, but rather when you look at it in this light, it's very understandable and you'll be able to see it more and more throughout the Bible. Okay, so the first place I want to go is 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 1 through 3. Well, I'll just take off reading it. I'm reading out of the King James Version. Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that you may prophesy. Okay? For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto God. For no man understands him, howbeit in the Spirit he speaks mysteries. But he that prophesies speaks unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. He that speaks in an unknown tongue edifies himself, but he that prophesies edifies the church. So we're looking at the interlinear Bible. This shows the English and the Greek words together side by side. And one thing I noticed is that, see this 9999 here? This is extra, it's added in. So I'm going to remove all those. I'm going to take those out of there. The second verse says, for he that speaketh, and in an unknown tongue is all from the same word. When we take a look at this word, the word literally means the tongue. How do you get unknown tongue from tongue? Well, they call it a language, and it says specially one naturally unacquired, meaning you didn't go to school to learn it. And if you didn't acquire it naturally, then that means that you got it supernaturally. And so this could be from God telling you to say something. Tells you to do something and you do it. Tells you to say something and you say it. Divine, if you will. Okay, so that's why it says it's in an unknown tongue. All right, you might say, well, what's this got to do with the price of tea in China? We're getting to it. So now that I know that it talks about an unknown tongue, this is what a lot of people talk about when it comes to tongues and interpretations, right? Something, it's another language, right? This is where they get another language. Okay, I've heard people say it's a spiritual language, it's an angelical language. I've heard a lot of different things. What I will tell you is the language is a way that people communicate back and forth. We have body language. There are no words that come out through body language, right? The language, the English language, right? You have French, you have German, you have Portuguese, you have Spanish. Those are all different types of languages, okay? And they sound different, some sound similar, okay? So when we're talking about language, we're talking about the way that people communicate. Now, an engineer communicates with an engineer by speaking certain vernacular, speaking using certain words that engineers use frequently. Now, a musician may not necessarily understand the vocabulary of an engineer. So they are basically, although they may be both speaking English, they can both be speaking two different languages. Okay? So let's not put language in a box. And let's not just say language is one thing, because even back during biblical times, this same concept applied. They had people that were responsible for water, sewer, things like that. That had people that were responsible for working in the temple. Okay. And each person had their own profession. And so they had a vocabulary that was related to their profession. Okay. So even within the same nation, people spoke different languages. Let's move on. I decided to look up this word and take a peek and say, okay, where else is this word for tongue used? And the first thing that comes to my mind is 1 Corinthians 13:1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, there's that word tongues again, of men and angels, and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. So let me explain this. If myself as an IT professional if I am speaking to a pastor who has no interest in IT, and I start talking about front end web development, he's going to hear the words front end web development, but he's not going to know what that is. Okay. So I'm speaking a different language to him. All right. And verse 1 says, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels. Angels were messengers of God, right? Angels are messengers of God. So if I am delivering a message, if I am speaking the word of God to, say, a newborn Christian who doesn't have in-depth studies in the word of God, guess what? I'm going to be speaking up over their head. I'm here speaking, they're here speaking, and it's not lining up. So verse 1 says, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not charity, in other words, I'm not thinking about the other person. I'm a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. Just noise. Newborn Christian doesn't understand. Okay? So I'm still speaking tongues. I'm speaking a different language. There's no comprehension, though. There's no comprehension. So let's move on. So I'm going to show you now where Jesus was operating in the gifts of the Spirit, in the gift of tongues. Okay? He was speaking a different language than what many people did not understand. Okay? So in Mark chapter 4, we read through verse 1 and verse 2, and he starts talking about the sowing a seed. Verse 4, it came to pass as he sowed a seed, some fell by the wayside, some, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And fell on stony ground where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, but it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among thorns, and thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And others fell on the ground and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased and brought forth some 30, 60, and 100. And he said unto them, he that has ears to hear, let him hear. Right then and there, Jesus knew that what he was saying was not going to be comprehended by everyone, but yet he's teaching a principle of the kingdom. So he's speaking a language here, and there's a whole bunch of people that are out here, but there are some people here that can comprehend what he's saying. He is operating in tongues. He is speaking a spiritual language. He's speaking a language. then not everybody can understand. But some of those have the gift of interpretation, of being able to interpret what he's saying, meaning that they can comprehend what he's saying. Well, let's keep going. If you keep reading on, you see where those that were with the 12 had asked him about the parables, and he told them it was unto them to know the mysteries of the kingdom. So he goes on to explain. And as he continues to explain. I'm going to skip down because what I want to get to is here. And with many such parables spake he the word unto them as they were able to hear it. He was speaking on the same level. He had that gift. He was filled with the Spirit. And although people didn't know it, they were able to interpret. Now, I want to make this clear. I am not saying this is the only applicable way that these gifts can be applied. I'm saying that this is something that the Lord showed me today, and I feel like I need to get this out. All I wanted to do is bring this to you and share this with you. If you like the content, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It sure helps us. And leave a comment below. I definitely like to hear or read what your thoughts are. I am by no means saying that there is only one way to apply this, because as we continue on, we get revelation after revelation after revelation, and we learn and learn and learn and grow and grow and grow. And as we do, we see things in a different light. So drop a comment below. I'm Jimmy V. Thanks for stopping by, becoming one. Have a blessed day. They had